Hey guys, I'm right here with Noel. We are doing a podcast on his business and what he's about. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for watching and tuning in here. We had a good opportunity to talk about, I got invited to be on this podcast and share a little bit of insight of our real estate company, a little bit about myself in real estate, and thank you for having us and joining us. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope that you could get some information from this.
Exactly. So where are you located? How can people contact you?
Okay, well, you can look us up on Instagram at Noel Sena Broker. You could Google Noel Sena, and my website will come up, as well as all our social media pages. And also on Instagram, our company page is at Excellence HD.
Perfect, and I'll tag all those links as well in my video.
Good deal. And you can also find us on YouTube as well.
Okay.
On a Noel Sena Broker.
Yeah, that's great. You actually were my good friend Carlos's neighbor. That's how we linked up.
That's right, yeah.
And one good thing about you is you were always there if I had any questions about real estate. Every time I hit you up with a text, every time I gave you a call, you're always there no matter what. It wasn't like you were looking for a sale, right?
Right.
You weren't saying, oh, I'm going to do this because of something. It's just because that you wanted to give out this information. And what I noticed about real estate agents that are good, great, people in real estate is they give information like it's candy.
Right.
Good ones don't hold back. They'll tell you what you want to know, what you need, and I think it's establishing relationships. And I think this is what your business is all about from an outside standpoint.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about relationships?
And it's an important topic because if I were to come out and try to give you a sales pitch, one or two things are going to happen. I might turn you off because I sound like a salesman, I might engage with you, and that's when I'll use a sales technique. My approach on a lot of advertisements, a lot of times where I communicate with friends and family, is going to be informative. If the consumer has a question, then I'm the professional who should be able to give an answer. Now, after that, I'll have to determine in my mind if this is going to lead to a potential sale or not. And that's what we call in real estate our craft. Because at the end of the day, we are salespeople. But there's a way we could be pushy, or we can let the business come to us. Those are two different scenarios.
I really like the second one. Let the business come to you. I love where that comes from, because a lot of times no one likes a door knock. No one likes a cold call. No one likes those things, really, honestly. But if you're nice about it, if you come across as genuine, I think that's the key. Mm-hmm. Genuine, people are going to be way more receptive to you. I have a couple questions I want to get through as well. So, how do you balance your home life and work life when it comes to this business? Because I know for a fact you guys work a ton of hours.
Right. Definitely. When you step into even if you're an hourly wage worker, which I was a majority of my life, and then when you step into this field, you end up working almost the same amount of hours because you're trying to reach a certain level of success. Now, that could be with real estate investments, it could be with sales quota, it could be that you're trying to pay your mortgage off. And one thing that every real estate salesperson loves about real estate is that when they close a transaction, they go from here to here. And if they're able to close 2 or 3 in a month, they're going to be investing into real estate really soon. And it's a matter of how hard is that? Well, it's a matter of how much time you put in. So back to your question, we're putting in hours and we're working because now the work is different. It's not a clock in and clock out. It's how bad do you want to succeed? And I think in the beginning of opening business here, it was 60 hours maybe. It was in the hot sun, door knocking, talking, cold calling. It was in the freezing winter, and we're still out there working. That didn't stop us. And that's one thing that I've seen out here is there's opportunity. Let's go attack it. Let's attack it hard and aggressively. And I'm thankful that we did that work 2 years ago because it has paid off this year. And as well as the time, I have a team now, and they're helping me out with a lot of my marketing, a lot of things that I was doing all by myself. Mm-hmm. But as we grow, our team grows as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm privileged enough to have my son on my team, my wife, my mother, my sister. And if I need some stuff done, I could count on my family to get it done.
That's key.
And they take a lot of responsibility away from me. So I thank them very much. And in turns, I'm able to maybe do right now, I would say, if you were to ask me, no, how many hours were you here last week? I'd probably say around 30 to 35 hours here last week. But in the beginning, it was nonstop every day for 7 days a week.
Yeah. That's a good point. Great points. So I want to talk a little bit about your background, because you mentioned you have your son, your wife, your family members involved in your business. Can you tell me a little bit about your background, how you came into the business, and what I really found interesting was you bringing your family into something that that is profitable, prosperity, family prosperity is what I want to talk about as well. So a little bit of background, and then tell me about how you got your family.
Okay. Prosperity is a key word, and in real estate, if you have that hunger and you have that drive, you're going to make that money. So back in 2005, my mother, I was 25 at the time. You guys could do the math, see how old I am now. But back in 2005, I was 25, and my mom, nothing was really going for me where I was living, where I was working. It seemed like I was going this way. In life, we were supposed to be going this way. So my mom would show me these commission checks and say, look, you could do this too. You don't have to be a bachelor's, master's, PhD degree. Just get your salesperson license and go start hustling. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. And that's what got me started into the business. Now, many years later, my grandma, let me go back a little bit. My grandmother was a broker and got my mother into the business. So let's start from there. From 75, my grandmother was a broker, my auntie was a broker, and the two women made a lot of money in real estate investments. I mean, they have their homes paid off, they have their investment properties paid off, and it all started from real estate sales. Okay, so let's fast forward about 10 years, and in 2015, I was tired of working for a couple of companies here, a couple of companies there. I wasn't really operating at peak performance. Something inside me was a desire to get my broker's license and open up shop. So when I did that, I talked to it with my wife and my son, and I said, hey guys, if we do this, let's do it. At the time, we were working a lot and losing time, and I was working part-time as an agent. So, and then I was going to college, and then I had a full-time job, and I had all these goals I wanted to do, and so I was back to hustle mode, just trying to knock these things out. And I was fortunate enough that my son said, hey Pop, I'll help you out. My wife did it. And when I opened up shop here, there was one agent, myself, and I had like 8 trainees, people that I just knew. Mm-hmm. And a couple of those trainees was my wife and my son, who got licensed shortly after. Mm-hmm. But when we opened up here, I was the only licensed agent for like the first 4 months. Wow. of working here. So I was able to bring my family in as my family brought me in so many years prior.
That's great news. And a lot of this channel is about family and family prosperity and giving back to the younger generation, which is again why I wanted to talk to you, especially because of your generational wealth that you're going to create. We know this now. So we talked about how you got your start, how you're starting the business. Tell me how to be a good agent. Tell me how to be a good broker for people out there.
Just do the opposite of what the bad people are doing.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, but it's almost kind of, I used that philosophy when I opened up this shop. You see, there were so many brokers that I did not like, or maybe that I got a chance to meet them, and when you talk to someone, you're like, oh man, in this business, you're like, I'd never work for them. Mm-hmm. I would never work after you hear them speak, because if we listen, we could hear a little bit of insight on that individual. And when it comes to leadership and running a brokerage, it's more upon the actual broker than it is the company name. Now, when they go hand in hand, you got something good, right? But usually it starts with the leadership. So I just we couldn't. After figuring that out, like, we're not going to work for that. And I'm sorry, I got off track. What was the question again?
The question is, what does it take to be a good agent, be a good broker?
Okay, sorry guys, my mind's thinking and it goes crazy. And so what does it take? It takes understanding that if you need to open up, or you need to branch out, or you need to leave your job, it's okay. I left mine and I was terrified.
Scary.
It was, and the next thing after that is, now I got to walk on my own 2 feet. So how am I going to become that good agent? In my situation was, how was I going to become that good broker? So, there's a lot of thoughts that go into that question. And we have to continue to educate ourselves, have people person skills, and be able to be of service to people. And then when we give, we receive and we reap it back. And those were some big things. So the first thing I recommend on how to become a successful agent is, one, you're going to have to change your circle. If you're not around agents who are successful, then you need to get around agents that are successful. If I was around brokers that were unsuccessful, because in every business there's people that they're just kind of into business.
Yeah.
They're not operating at peak performance. They're almost like a 9 to 5, and they're taking a long break. They're leaving 5 minutes before the clock. It's the same kind of concept with real estate. So we have to put ourselves around a group of people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
What I mean like-minded is when we come across problems, we have solutions.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then guess what? It's okay. We might lose a deal. It's okay. We did our best to do it, but we continue to push forward and push forward and push forward. Whereas there's other people who will complain, and then there's other people who come across it and will quit. So when you're around those people that are successful in what it is you want to do, they uplift you.
Mm-hmm.
They bring you up with them. They don't put you down.
Yeah.
Now that's an assessment that you take when you first meet somebody.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet someone right away into business and you want to be a successful agent, successful broker, right when you tell them that you're going to become an agent, we have to listen to what their response is. Because too many times the response is going to be, oh, you don't want to get in this business, you don't want to do this, or you don't want to do that. It's almost that old-fashioned saying where they're not sharing any of their knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's a first key.
Yeah.
So definitely change the circle. I used to think, back when I was working at the military base, I used to think, man, I need to be around some brokers, and I was working a job, it was cool, everything was all right, but I knew that I needed to bounce out and I needed to do something. I needed to be around these people. I didn't know how I was going to be around them. I didn't know any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because when things start working out, they line up. And then before that, man, I was talking with a guy who's 100 times more successful in my area. And when I talk to him, like I said, the first couple things I notice is how he responds back.
Mm-hmm.
Noel, and this is what I was told, Noel, you're going to be the greatest broker in the high desert. This is what you need to do. And from a guy who's just, got the license, who's barely leaving his job, to hear that, maybe that was one thing I needed to hear, because I'll tell you, shortly after that, I was giving it 110.
Take it off.
So what we do is we give that to our aspiring agents, our aspiring students, and we just let them know, hey, if you want to do real estate, guess what? You're going to do it, and you're going to do a good job at it.
Positive attitude. I think a lot of things I took out of that was positivity.
Yeah.
Positivity is major. If you have a positive attitude into something, I think you're going to get a lot out of it 99% of the time.
Right.
Because if I come into something new and I'm like, oh man, I have so many doubts in my mind, it's natural, right? To have doubts. Like,
of course.
Oh man, you're out there to the wolves. Sometimes that's the best kind of training you can do to yourself. But I heard positivity and I heard circle. So there's an old saying, if you're friends, if there's 9 broke friends, you're going to be the 10th one.
No, of course.
Right?
Yes.
If there's 9 millionaires, you're going to be the 10th millionaire.
Right.
So take that aspect and just run with that. Who are your friends? Who are you around? Who do you allow your time to be consumed by? Successful people or people doing the same stuff they did yesterday? Not to knock anybody, but if you want to become successful, you need to have a circle that is successful. Hear it from the man himself. He said it himself.
And to touch on that real quick, when it's time to grow, it's time to go. Okay?
Yeah.
So you got to go, man.
Exactly.
And not kicking out people, but you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
That means you got to remove yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a big one. And I think every day we get challenges on that. But we know what we're doing. You know what you're doing. And you know that hunger inside you. When you got that burn and the desire, you got to do something about it.
If it calls on you, you got to go. You got to go.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So I think we touched on a lot, how to succeed. You told us a lot about how to succeed. Let's go with marketing strategies. What's your marketing strategies and how you handle competition? Because you're giving a lot of gold out.
Yeah.
How are you going to handle that when it comes to competition and marketing?
Right. So when I this is how I knew I was on my right path.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met with a couple of my mentors, one of the first things they say in our business, at our company, is at Excellence Real Estate, we're not competitive, we're dominant. So we go over there and we take over the market. We go over there, and it was even brought out like this for people that are, that read the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible talks about being competitive, but it does talk about dominion. So that meant a lot to me because I do read scripture, and I do get my good insights from the Bible. It's a good book.
That's
so
good.
I came over here with the mindset was, and I told you I was only one agent up here at the time. I had a bunch of trainees. How do you come into that mindset? Well, my mentors who are above me brought me up with them, and they brought me up with putting me in the right mindset.
Get yourself a good mentor, right?
That's
another key.
If you get a good mentor, you've eliminated 50% of problems.
Yeah.
So I had that mindset. At our company, we have a niche, and our niches are magazines, and we get them for pennies on the dollar, which when you're an independent contractor, marketing becomes very expensive. So does branding, and this goes hand in hand with branding 101, okay? This is a numbers game. How many people you talk to a day, how much product you push out, how many social media posts you do. Whatever your marketing niche is, you have to do it according to numbers. So if I get the product cheap and I could get it to my agents for free, next thing you got to do is work, right? So we come out here and we work, because if I worked at my job and I got promoted and I did a good job there and I got a golden handshake and a safety award and a little pat on the back, good job, thumbs up, right? Because I'm doing my job. If I step on my own 2 feet and I work my logistics, now that's in my career, that's for my sales, that's going to get me to the next level, and I use that same ethic that I had then over here, what's going to stop me? No one's going to stop me. There's no product out here in the high desert that's better than mine. And that's just not me saying it. I get agents from other agencies that tell me that, no, wow, your magazine is hot. I know it is. That's why I picked Excellence. While everyone else goes with the crowd, I needed to go with something different, unique, and it had the marketing at the price I needed. After that, I just needed the desire to do it. So I don't see competition. We come here to dominate. And with my product, that's what we do, is we dominate.
Great answer, right? Take some notes. How do you handle competition? I don't even know what that word means. Right?
That's right.
You're going to do your best.
Every day, we look up in the mirror at ourselves, and that's our competition.
Yourself,
Is
right?
yourself.
Battle yourself.
Because I tell you, the inner lazy person in me will put it in my mind and say, my inner hater. That's what we're gonna say. My inner hater will say, Noel, don't do this. You could be hanging out right now. You don't need to go in. You're good. You got this many escrows. You got this many. So my inner hater tells me that, and I tell him to F off, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna hustle.
Yeah.
Because again, even though we may have 5, 6, 7 deals, who's to say 2 or 3, 4 will fall out?
Dude.
So we got to keep the logistics going. And if you stay on a system with your numbers, we got the product that's cheap, so just do the number. You got the social media that's free, so just do the post. You're gonna get response back.
Yeah. So a lot of people that are gonna watch this are homeowners already.
Good.
Kudos to them. You took a major step. That's great to hear. I want to talk a little bit about home value, how they could get their home to appraise higher with little money, and how to get their home to appraise higher with a lot of money. Tell me some differences about that.
Okay, well, I mean, home ownership is expensive. Everybody knows. You got to put down your down payment.
Yes.
Continue to make your mortgage payments. Try not to do a 30-day late. They significantly impact your credit score. And all this will come down to financing later when you want to refinance or you want to sell. So little projects to do is baseboards, get them cleaned up, got some fresh paint, make sure your fascias are cool, your exterior, your outside home looks good, your roof's in good shape. Now, with real estate, we say location, location, location. So your location is going to determine a lot of your home value. What you want to do is connect with your local real estate expert who markets that neighborhood and get a CMA.
Where would they get a real estate expert from?
Well, fortunately for everybody tuning in here, all you have to do is look up Excellence Real Estate HD, Noel Sena, and we'll have one of those over to you probably within 6 hours of your request or sooner. So if you send me a text or an email, we got to pull the report, the data. We'll send you to email, nice report, and you'll be able to see your housing trends. is your market going up? It's going down.
Yeah.
How's it going in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
But depending on the neighborhood, we have a lot of different scenarios. Some homes are big in a smaller area. Some homes are vice versa, and it's going to depend a lot on your value, and go from there. But some of the expensive projects, as a homeowner myself, and so a couple of my clients, concrete work. I had a guy tell me one time, "No, I did all this concrete work. I spent $30,000 on this concrete." And I'm like, "It's expensive, but according to the market data, this is what your home is worth." That's an expensive one, and sometimes on that he didn't get his money on his concrete work.
Yeah.
Now the client that has the kitchen and it's all done up, looks like a 10, they tend to get a little bit more value because the kitchen is the heart of the home.
Now I've always heard that, like, your backyard landscaping, it's great for a fast sell, right?
Right.
You could sell it quicker than if you didn't have it, but you're not going to get your return on investment.
Right.
Because you're going to spend, like you said, $30,000 on landscaping in your backyard, but it's not going to really turn into any concrete money at the end, especially with pools as well. I think it's only like, 10% of what you put into the pool you get back.
Well, with a pool, you could always determine about $25K for like a smaller one if it's in ground. Now the above ground ones.
I'm sorry, you're talking about building or what you're getting back from it?
Yeah, well, say for instance you have a home and you're selling and it has a pool, but you looked up comps in the neighborhood and none of those comps have pools.
Okay.
You could value that pool usually about $25,000 to $30,000 depending on how big it is. So we have to make those assessments, and that's ultimately an opinion. But if you talk to local contractors on how much the value is, you'll be on point on what your sale is on that house. Now, the nicer the pool, the more value it takes. But again, it's going to come up to the appraiser, and I don't recommend doing paying for an appraiser because they're opinions. So once you go into an escrow and you needed another appraiser, then you got a whole different opinion. But we as homeowners and as agents and brokers, we just have to have the data that supports our conclusion and why. And that's something we could present to anybody if they say the home is not worth that much. I'm going to say, well, why not? And they're going to tell me their data, and I'm going to say, well, look at this data as well. So we all make an educated decision.
Your due diligence, right?
That's due diligence, yes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because with appraisals and all this stuff like that, it's hard for homeowners because they think like, hey, but I did this. So a lot of things when it comes to appraising is, what are the homes selling? What do they have? Do they all have granite? Do they all have what's the other thing opposite of granite?
Tile. They have the concrete slab ones.
Yeah. So
the marble.
What's selling in your area? If you want to sell your home, what's selling in your area? Do that. Because if all the homes in your area are all carpeted and they're selling for X amount of dollars and you want to get that dollar amount, well, guess what? You're going to have to carpet your home because you want to almost be like-minded with them, right? Because if all these homes are getting $300,000 and they're like this and they're selling, then that's what you kind of want to, you want to follow the trends, right?
Right, yeah.
You don't want a 70s home trying to sell it in 2020 because the trend isn't there. Right. What's trending right now?
I mean, a lot of the newer looks are, well, granite's not such a newer look, but it's a clean look. The marble's coming back for countertops. Nest system, the new electrical outlets with the USBs. I mean, lights that turn on when you walk in, and
recessed lighting.
Yeah, the recessed lighting is always there,
yeah.
and those are all. So what we want to not do is overspend in your home determined by your location.
That's exactly what I was
so.
gonna say,
And we had a scenario like that come up not too long ago. It was a home that was out in the middle of the desert, not in the high desert, but even further out. And the lady put like $60,000 in renovations. Well, she's not gonna see that money back because she wanted to sell. Unfortunately for her, it didn't make dollars. It didn't make sense. But she put that kind of money into that home, and she's not gonna get her money back on that.
Yeah.
So she's just gonna rent it. But that's a lot of money to spend in that area. Yeah. I don't recommend it, but she wanted to do it.
Yeah. So before you do any type of home renovations, I would suggest hitting up an agent and seeing what they consider that would be a good investment for your area. If you're trying to sell, yeah, that's a good idea to hit up an investor or an agent. But if you're trying to live there and live comfortably and that's your full-time home and that's where you're going to live, that's perfect. Do that, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how a homeowner would use equity to their advantage, and explain equity to someone who doesn't know.
Equity is not tangible money. but it's what your home value is versus what you owe on the property. Now, what's in between? That's called equity, and the bank will lend you up to, if you're a homeowner already, the bank will lend you, I think it's up to 70% or 75% LTV, which is loan to value. And then you could pull out some of that money, but not at 100%. So you cannot pull 100%, but you could pull out 70%. So a lot of cases people will refinance and they'll pull out 50 to 150,000 depending on their location. And their 150 grand, that's what we would call their equity.
So you could do a lot with that money, right? You can invest in the stock market. You could invest in your home. You could actually rehab your whole home, your whole house, and you're paying yourself back, right? Because you have to pay that loan back. It's not for free, right?
No,
if you borrow it, you're gonna have to pay it back.
Right.
However, you're living in a comfortable home, and guess what? Your home is gonna appraise for way more if you did it correctly. So for those people that don't know much about refinancing, can you give me a little bit of insight on refinancing, the pros and cons to it, and how it kind of works?
Good deal. Good question. So you want to refinance when the interest rate is low and the market is up, like right now. And that's just not a sales pitch. The proof is in the data. Interest rates are at a 30-year low. Okay, so that says a lot. 30 years. Some people aren't even 30 years old. They own a home. Haven't been this low since before they were born. Also, since the equity is high right now, you probably have some money there. Now, what we see a lot of times is people will sell and upgrade. They started off in a small 3-2, and now their family grew, so they're growing too. Or they started off in a condo, now they're going to the 3-2, and that happens a lot in this market right now. There's other type of people who got a nice house and they're like, hey, I don't want to leave. I put in a lot of money in it. I just want to refinance because when I bought it, 10 years ago, the interest rate was at 5.5 or 6, and now it's at a 2.8 or 3.2 in between there, and now that's significantly lowered their payment. Now, that's the good thing. If their monthly mortgage, they're doing okay. Now, the flip side to that is if they bought it 15 years ago, then they're only 15 years away from paying it off. So when they refinance, they're starting back here on a 30-year note. So that's a lot to consider as well. You'd have to do the numbers and make sure it makes sense. Now, if you bought your home 3 or 4 years ago, refinance because the interest rate is lower. You're going to save money on your payment, and you're only 4 years into your loan. But I also have clients that have been in their homes 25 years, and they're definitely not going to refinance because of the 2%. And they bought it 25 years ago, so their interest rate is like a 9. So people are freaking out. A 9%? You better no. Well, because if he refinances, then he starts all over again, and he doesn't want to. They don't want to do that, so they'll just pay off their note. If they have 5 more years, hey, tough it up, 5 more years, and they get their house paid off. But if they could pull some cash, save some money, have a stack in their bank account, maybe pay a car off. I mean, think about that. How many people have car payments that are $500, $600? What if you refinanced? And your payment went up $250 and you paid your car off?
Guess what you saved?
Yeah,
$300 a month.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So those options are big to get out of some debt. Those are big. And again, do the numbers. Talk with your loan officer. If you need some help or some direction on where to go, give us a call. We'll put you with the right loan officer. Hello. Hi. Thank you. Okay, as you see there, that's a commission check. An agent closed the deal, and your average commission out here is about $6,000-$7,000. So an agent closed, they're going to get paid, and they're working their way to their real estate dreams.
That's perfect. So let's talk to the people about different types of home loans you can get, and how do you qualify for those?
Good deal. Well, the better the credit score, the better your interest rate. So work on your credit. I mean, you don't have to run your credit. Everybody knows of the Credit Karma, the freecreditreport.com. Check that out and start paying your debt off. A lot of people go to credit repair, and don't get me wrong, it's okay. Like if you can't manage your bills and you need someone to help you, but try to get a grip on that, because that's your financial freedom, is your finances. Look at your bank account, even if it pisses you off. Look at that thing and think about, I'm going to improve it. I'm going to pay these off, and pay off your debt, because when they do your debt to income ratio, okay, that's your income divided into your debt. It gives you a ratio. They're going to come up with a number. And either you're going to take a bigger hit on the interest, or you may not even qualify. So the lower the debt, the better. People, like you said, refinancing right now are good options. Interest rates are at a historic low. And selling and upgrading is good. You have the equity. It's almost like you're swapping a house for a house when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you pay down this big principal back to kind of what it was here, but now you have a bigger house, maybe in a nicer neighborhood. It depends.
Yeah.
But there are refinance options, and cash out refi or rate refi, rate only. And on the rate only, pay your mortgage payment on time for 12 months. You should be good. Contact your current lender, and they could give you a streamlined refinance. Okay, so and that would take them down to, if they bought it, let's say 2 years ago, and they're at a 4.5. Now they could do a streamline, and then they save $300 a month, which is tremendous savings. And they're only a couple years into their mortgage, so it's not like they're starting off like fresh.
Exactly. So tell me the different types of loan as far as FHA. Tell me conventional, and tell me VAs and how people can get those.
Okay, good deal. Well, if you're a veteran, go with a VA loan. Contact our local loan officer, and they could explain all the details for you. Take advantage of the zero down, and take advantage of seller paying some of your closing costs, okay? And we also give a credit to our VA clients as well on a listing and on purchase. So thank you for your service. If any of you are watching, I do have veterans that work under our office, and we are very experienced in the VA market. Now let's move along to FHA, okay? But we can go FHA 3.5% down payment. That means you get your purchase price, times it by 3.5%.
Give me some numbers.
You're looking at, let's say about if you're buying $200,000, you're looking a little bit over, $6,700 on your down payment. But let's not forget, you will also have closing costs as well.
Yes.
So you have to look at a purchase almost like 6%. That's an estimate, okay, guys? Don't quote me. But in your purchase, you usually need about 6%. Half of that's going to be your down payment. The other half is going to be towards your closing costs, right? So if I'm buying at $200,000, I need at least 12 G's in there. And if I'm buying at $300,000, then I need at least about 18. And so on and so forth. Okay. So the higher the purchase price, the more money you need in the bank, and we're going to ask for proof of funds. Yeah. So your numbers got to line up. Now, for those that don't have that down payment, that's just too much money. I work a job and I'm barely making ends meet. Well, fortunately for you, if you qualify, there's grant programs available. So what's a grant program? It's under FHA guidelines. It's the same thing, but now you have an investor who's going to give you your down payment money. Okay? And then you take they always make their money, don't get me wrong,
of course,
but at least you don't have to come out with that money out of pocket. So whatever their charges may be, sometimes it benefits a borrower because he doesn't got the 3.5. Or maybe he barely has 3 enough to cover his closing, but what about his down? Well, sometimes the grant program will help him out with his down payment. He'll come up with the other half to cover his closing costs, and guess what? He gets his house. Yeah. So those are another options. Now, that also carries mortgage insurance because FHA says, hey, we're in the business of helping you out. However, just in case, because we're risky borrowers if you're FHA, and in the high desert, almost everybody's a FHA borrower. Okay, so it protects the mortgage just in case in default. Lender gets their money back from the government. Everything's good. But now, what if you had a conventional? Okay, conventional is going to go to our stronger borrowers, the guys that got the high 6s, 700s, and they got the money in the bank. While you eliminate your MI with that, you put down a hefty amount. 20% will eliminate MI. There's 3% conventionals, 5%, and 10%, but they'll all carry MI.
What's MI?
Mortgage insurance. Yes. Like FHA, very similar to FHA. Okay, but if you do the 20%, you eliminate the MI, which saves you anywhere from $200 to $300 on your payment a month, which is worth it if you have that kind of money saved up.
Definitely worth
okay, so like for people who are upgrading, they sell their house, they'll have the 20% because they just sold their house.
Yep.
So then they eliminated the MI, which you do the numbers over the 30 years at $250 a month, you're looking at some serious money. Okay, so that's what we usually see. We see FHA, well VA. We say FHA grant programs. We say FHA. We have a few different conventional options, and then you get your big one with 20% conventional. And after that, you're a cash buyer. You got more money than that, then cash is king, and you buy property cash. You're going to get the best offer. You're going to get it in 10 days, and you'll be rocking and rolling.
Cash is king.
It sure is in real estate. And so whatever scenario works for you, contact your local loan officer or get in touch with me. I'll connect you with somebody who could put you on the game plan to success and not a game plan for failure. Okay, and we do this. We've been doing it for 15 years.
Exactly. So, what's the future of real estate?
Okay, that's a good question. It's an
open-ended question.
It
so
sure is.
Let's go.
That everybody, so many. If you've bought in property, you're a real estate expert. And people are always reading the newspapers or social media now and looking at the news and figuring out where's the market going, where's the market going. Well, I went to an economic convention January of this year, and they didn't even mention COVID-19. So, and what COVID did to our market was actually made our housing market stronger, as we are the strongest sector in the United States right now is the housing market. So with COVID, but it wasn't predicted, it's hard to say where real estate's gonna go, but we all know if it goes up, it must come down. It's just a matter of when. So I talk to many people who say, I'm gonna wait a year or 2 years to buy. I say, okay, that's understandable. Why? Well, the market's gonna crash. Oh, okay, good deal. All right. So if somebody has read their data, the market's gonna crash, there's no changing their mind. I try to ask them, I try to say, hey, well, look at this. No, it's too high, it's too high. I understand because the proof is in the data, right? We're like $25,000 just below what it peaked back in 07. Okay, so just to give a rough estimate, so is it going to happen like that? Is it going to be like that? Are we going to have another bubble? Well, I'm not too sure about that. But what I do know is that in real estate, and if you were like me, and I have kids, I had a job, and I just needed a place for my family because I was tired of renting. I'm not a good renter. I'm tired of renting. And I want my son to have a backyard, some toys, and a pool and all. Yeah. So what I did was I just looked to see if I could afford a home. If you can afford a home, buy a house.
Do it.
Because technically on your financial sheet, your home is not an investment because it takes from you every month. If you're looking for an investment, go buy an investment home, which gives to you every month. Or after you pay it, you clear a certain amount of money on a net. Your home, you don't have a net sheet. You're going for equity in the long term. Okay, so for those of you who have homes, good job. Pat yourself on the back. It's not hard becoming a homeowner. For those of you who are on the line about maybe buying a fence, ask yourself, can I afford this monthly payment? So do the numbers. Contact the loan officer or your local real estate broker, and we'll give you 3 scenarios: high, medium, and a low. And if you could afford the mortgage payment on that, you're gonna do just fine. Whether the market goes up or down, you'll be in your house because you can afford your monthly payment. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about the housing market. It all depends. Everyone has a different scenario. Your finances are different than mine. Mine are different from hers. Mine are different from. Everyone has different finances. So it's just a matter of to see, does it fit your scenario right now? If you're overextending, reconsider. You never want to overextend yourself because then we put ourselves in trouble. Think about that time I bought that car and I was like, man, I shouldn't have bought that car. It really overextended me. And same thing with a home. You do that with a house, what happens? You end up losing it. So just make sure you could afford it and you're going to be okay.
Exactly. And I want to talk a little bit about 2008 versus what's happening right now. In 2008, from what I know, is stuff happened, 2008 happened. However, now the federal government stepped in and made guidelines, regulations, so this doesn't happen again. So yeah, the market is high, almost where it got in 2008, but do you predict a dip because of what happened in 2008? Talk a little bit about 2008, what happened, what were the rules set in place, and how it doesn't really pertain to us anymore.
It really doesn't. In 2008, the market crashed because of the financial institutions doing unethical lending practices. Exactly. Yeah. Since then, there was many laws that came into place, even as far as putting regulation on appraisals. Back in that day, I would be able to call a local appraisal company, do an appraisal Now real estate brokers cannot do that. They go through the bank selects them through a pool of people, or they get selected from a pool of people, and we have somebody that no one knows, no one's connected to, go and make the appraisal. So the market right now, everything is peaking right now. And what I see right now is appraisals coming in low due to those regulations, which is good, because I'll tell you, if I put a home on the market right now, I got 10 offers in a week. And people are saying, I'll do 30 grand over, I'll do 40 grand over, 20 grand over. Well, the home is not worth that. So the appraiser's got to go off the data and find out that it's worth this. So what happens is the buyer will secure his escrow and will amend the price in escrow, and he gets it for value. The appraisers aren't doing it at that value like they were many years ago. So a lot of things have changed since then, and back then was because of the housing, the finances. Since then, a lot of rules and regulations have been implemented, different licensing now. I can't just go out and do a loan like I used to be able to do back in 2008. I have to be an MLS license, and these are all practices in place so that this doesn't happen again. Now, who's to say that the market won't crash? And if it does, will it be because of financial institution lending practices? I don't think so. But could the market crash? It can. Could the market decrease a little bit? Yeah, it could do that too. Economics 101 teaches us, once the rate gets increased, what happens? The sales price decreases, and vice versa. So right now the rate's low, sales price is up. Once the Fed stimulates the economy, it's going to go like this. And right now we got good interest rates for the end of the year, and we can anticipate it probably the first quarter of the next year. Inventory went up. We were at an all-time low in inventory.
I heard about that.
Last month we had like 400 homes listed, and our average was 800 or 9 up to 1,200. So that was the high demand. Right now, people buying the interest rate. Right, I just checked it the other day. We're in the high desert. We're about 600. So it's picked up a little bit as far as listings, and we see the difference in our office from listings being real tight to having a bunch and being sold real quick. So we see these market trends here and there. So what I see not too far in the future is once the Fed increases the rate, we can anticipate a little slowage on the home sales. Even if they go up to 4, 4 is still a phenomenal interest rate. So, but I don't see it crashing because of a real estate market. Just now, on that topic though, on that topic, we do have a lot of people who didn't pay their rent. Their mortgages. And now we have a lot of people who started this back in March or April, and now they have this balloon note that's due, and they did the forbearance, which really is this: we're going to help you out for a couple months, but you got to pay back what you owe. These are going to be foreclosures, and let's also discuss a lot of people that lost their jobs during COVID-19. But how come we don't have these foreclosures yet? The foreclosure market's real tight right now. It's because the courts aren't all the way open. So can we anticipate some stuff next year? Once they open up the courts, there's going to be a wave of foreclosures, but it's not going to be like 2008, but you're still going to have a lot because a lot of people were affected by COVID-19. Now, the numbers, well, we'll see at next year how it goes, but once you open up, and that's going to have an effect on the market because we'll have a little bit more distressed properties. So right now it's not a big REO market. We don't have agents attacking REOs right now because there's just not a lot. And then the foreclosure process stopped. So all of that's on hold though, and it's been built up since earlier this year. So we do anticipate a market for that coming up, but it's not going to be the whole market like it was in 2008. The whole market in 2008 was REOs. We're going to have a fraction of the pie that's going to be for that, as we'll still have our normal buyers and sellers. And I don't see the interest rate jumping up so high where prices are going to go down so low. I think that ship has sailed.
I think so too.
Honestly, in the high desert, those days of 60,000 and buying a 3.2 are gone. 80,000 gone.
Yeah, I don't see that either. Along with that is what people listening. We don't get feedback right now. There's someone in that situation. Man, I lost my job. I'm in forbearance. They're gonna come for my payment. What do you suggest those people do? How could we help them? How could anyone help them, and how can they help themselves out of that?
Right. Well, in order to help themselves, you have to look and connect with your local broker and get a CMA on your property. Let's see how much you would make when you sell it compared to losing it. Now, a lot of the times, and I've been in situations, I've lost a house. I've had a car repo. I've had bad credit card debts, and I've cleaned myself off on every single one. What you have to do, and take this from personal experience, is you have to assess your situation. Get as much information as you can, but not from people that are unexperienced. Get your information from people that have been there and have helped people come out. So don't let your credit go shot. Even though it might be shot, don't get a foreclosure. Sell your house right now and get the numbers and get out. Even if you clear it, like you don't make no money, but you don't owe no money. That's still a win-win for you because your credit is good, and
you don't have a foreclosure.
You don't have a foreclosure on your record. You don't have to file bankruptcy and go through all these things, which is a tremendous amount of stress. It's stressful enough losing your job. It's stressful enough getting a pay cut. It's stressful enough having to deal with all that, and then what goes on in your house, and then now you're losing your home. So look at your options. Talk to a professional, and let's help you out. Don't lose your property.
Don't give it to the bank. I don't like banks. I have to work with them.
Right.
Everybody has to work with them, but I don't like them.
Yeah.
Don't give your house to the bank. Sell it, even if you get $5,000, $10,000 out of it, but you don't have a foreclosure on your record. That's a win. You get out of there, rent for a while, come back, square up, get positive, and start over again. Everybody's done it. You just spoke to what I want to talk to you about too. We're talking. You got trophies here. Talk a little bit about the trophies real quick.
Our trophies are for our sales champs. These people have worked hard, and they came up with a system, a work-life balance. They put themselves around successful people. They had the desire to say, this year I'm going all out, and I'm going to try my hardest. In our company, we recognize that. We recognize agents and their efforts. We recognize it in a nice, this isn't a cheap trophy. If you pick this thing up, it probably weighs about 6 or 7 pounds.
Wow, I'm strong.
And I can live this easy. No, but what I'm saying is that we don't go to Staples and Office Depot, not to dog on them, but we don't order our trophies like Little League Baseball trophies.
No, this is nice.
These are really nice trophies. And we also give our so we do, if you get over 3 million, you're going to get a sales trophy. If you do over 6 million, we're the only company that gives an excellence ring, and those goes to our ring participants. If you go over 10 million, we're actually going to put you in a nice program, and we call it the Circle of Excellence. Now, a lot of people in the Circle of Excellence, we have 750 agents in our organization. So these are a lot of these people are investors, top salespeople, brokers, and owners who operate and produce very greatly. And we recognize them on a nice platform at the Cerritos Performing Arts Center, and it's a very nice, elegant place, and we give top recognition to our salespeople.
And that's good as not so much as an employee, but someone who works alongside and with the company, because they're their own boss essentially. Yeah. You're doing your own thing. You're not saying like, hey, where you at?
Right.
You let them do their thing. They come back to you with sales, and here's your trophy, and they get appreciation. Right. And I think that's a big thing, appreciation in a company that you work for and work along with. But here's the highs. Let's talk about the lows. You've been down in the dumps, and you came out of it. Just like any one of our viewers that are down right now, guess what? You did the first steps in getting out of that by listening to this podcast and trying to be successful. Talk a little bit about what happened with your situation and how you came out of it.
Failure is big. It's also the greatest teacher that I've known. And back in 2008, we had that failure. And I talked to you in the beginning about my whole family being in real estate. Well, during that time, my whole family had to go out and get jobs. We had to work and continue with what we love, because once you get this is almost like a taste of freedom, is when you work for yourself or you're in this kind of entrepreneur business. Nobody is calling you up. Hey, how come you didn't show up today? Hey, you're late today. Actually, we don't even care. We hope that you do your sales, but you have to have goals so that you get to your next level in life. And we have plans, and we have the formula to get you there, but you got to want to do it. At that time, everybody, we had to go get jobs, and we had to start in the beginning again. And that's when I realized I switched from loans. After that, I'm like, I ain't doing loans no more. I don't like it. I got into it, and I was 2 years into the game, and then, wow, market crashed. And to experience something like that, I was like, hey, you're the bank. How did you go bankrupt? That's how it was. The bank went bankrupt? How does that even happen? That's the conversation I had when I was, 26 or 27 with the rep that would come in, would buy the loans. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get into real estate. My grandmother did real estate. I'll flip on that side.
Yeah.
So I went under the wing of a broker and kind of learned some deals here and there. And little by little, I don't know if you guys ever read the book, The Compound Effect, but if you haven't, read it. And it just talks, his main philosophy is just take one step at a time. Don't look at the big picture and look where you're at now. Just focus on the next step. And eventually, once you take a step at a time, you're going to get there. And when I switched over to real estate, I had to learn my contracts, disclosures, more of the art and craft. I knew how to be a salesperson or a people person and talk to people normally without having to push a sale.
Yeah.
Because we could have normal conversations, but I also needed to learn the real estate business. So from there, I just started doing some marketing here and there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then after working under a couple of brokers, I said, we got to get our own broker's license. The vision became big. And check this out too. I even opened up my own company for 1 year, and I did my own sales. I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, but I didn't have a team. And I couldn't share anything with my team. It was just me. There was no recognition in place. There was no product. There was no connections. You're missing something in there. And that's when I clicked up with excellence. When I clicked up with excellence, Noel, what do you need? I need this. I already knew what I needed because I already had my business for a year. I need this, everything that I couldn't get, that's what I needed. And you know what? It was given to me just like that. Boom, call this guy. They're going to all take care of you. Whatever it is you need, we got you. Networking, the power of the network. So now we got the power of the network here. We're on track. Our salespeople are reaching their goals. But let's reflect back to what it was down here.
Yeah.
And everything in between that time, just one step ahead. And it took many years for me to get here. So I love to reflect back and see how far it is we came, because during that time was a lot of unsuccessful times, a lot of frustration, extreme frustration. I'm talking about straight up miserable in my life. And that wasn't because of my family or nothing. My family's great. I love my kids. It was personal growth. Didn't have it, but I seeked it and I wanted it. And not to stop at here. We're still continuing to grow. Yeah. The goals, now that we reach this plateau, hey, we get together on a new set of goals, and we're going to go reach the next.
What's next?
Exactly.
What's next?
So what's a good question? What's next is more investments here in the high desert. What's next is networking with a couple more leaders. I'm looking for 2 or 3 leaders here in the high desert.
I wanted to talk to you about that as well.
They want to collab with me. And if I go back to what your other question was, competition, they're going to help us become dominant in our business.
Yeah.
But I can't do it all by myself, right? If I was a one-man show, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
We have to have, the strength is in the team. And that's what I like about excellence, is we're all part of the team. Yeah. Yes, I'm the broker here in the high desert, but I'm only as strong as my team. I know what I could go out and do on my production. I know that I could sell. That's good that I know that. But what I really enjoy doing is helping a salesperson reach their goals, maintaining our office, our sales, our team, while improving agents and their productivity to help them reach a level. Yeah. Now, since we're there, now let's reach out to this city, and this city, and this city. But I'm only one guy. I can't go to all those cities, but I could collaborate with like-minded leaders.
Look how far else we can go. This might be off camera, but I'm pulling other places that is connected with this place. So it's great. How does someone join up with you? How does someone be part of your team, training, even an agent that wants to switch up? Right. How does that happen?
You have to connect with me. You have to shoot me a text. Look me up on Instagram at Noel Sena Broker, at Noel Sena Broker. Okay, Google Noel Sena. You'll be able to find me. You can find me on Facebook. You can add me there too. Now you have to connect with me. I'm also a mentor at the Victor Valley College. I have a whole group of students. And what I could do is invite you to our private Facebook group, and you could kind of see what we do in our shop. Not too much posting in there, but just little updates. But also we do our trainings. So that's a way to keep updated on what our trainings are. So if you want to learn about real estate, you can't sell it if you're not licensed. But you could learn and sit in and see a couple of people, on what they do. And not just my system, but their system as well. and we share ideas, and we learn and we grow. So if you're a student, want to become a student, reach out to me. I do recommend you getting your certificates and licensings. And but if you don't know where to start, a lot of the times, how are we supposed to know what to do when no one ever showed us? All right?
Exactly.
So all you have to do is ask. Like you said, you text, and I just text right back. I'm just a guy who wants to help you out. Okay, well, we're running our own operations and our own thing. But hey, if you have a question, I might have the answer when it comes to real estate.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about community too, real quick. So along with this, you're a mentor to, younger people. Well, it doesn't matter the age. Just your age doesn't matter. It's just your mindset has to change. You could be an older person that just changed to a new mindset. You have a whole new life. It's a long life, so it doesn't have to be young adults, but we like to see it along with community. When I started this, I wanted more people in the community that are successful. How do we change a community? How do we, there's a lot of crime here. Do I just complain about crime? Or do I pick up the youth and make them know that there's a different way, that there's a mentor here? Right. Link them up with a mentor. Guess what? That person's not going to want to think about crime. He's going to want to think about his next goal. What's his next goal? I want to be like Noel. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like him. He's successful. He's doing this. He's been through a lot of stuff. But guess what? I could be like him. I don't have to be like my friends or my circle. I want to do something for the community in that way. I don't have a lot of money, but what I do have is a platform now, and I have people that I know that are successful and that are doing mentorships. And I think that's a key with our community. How to help our community, give them knowledge.
Yeah, you have to improve your community by improving yourself. So you have to ask yourself, what is my purpose? Or maybe you don't even know your purpose. Work towards something, you're gonna find a purpose. So maybe it's go to college. I don't want to go to college. Well, just go, because that's your inner self, your inner hater telling you not to go.
Yeah.
So go to college, because you know what? You're gonna connect with people. You're gonna have a network. You're gonna talk to people, like-minded people who are all aspiring to be, and that's your first step. Okay. After that, you're gonna get more educated in what it is you want. Is it your dream to go and help fix your cities or your communities or your neighborhoods? Then maybe from there you go into the political side on it in college. Get a little education. Education never hurts.
No.
If there's somebody that you see who's a politician, hit them up. Right now, social media, bam, you can message that guy right there.
Talk to anybody.
Yeah, so if you want to do it, but something inside telling you not to, don't listen to your inner hater. Just do it, okay?
Inner hater, I'm gonna take that a little bit. I'm gonna take that home.
I'm telling you, he comes out every day and he hates, man. I'm like, get out of here. I got goals, I got plans. We got to finish things. Yeah. But when nothing happens, nothing happens. Yeah. So we have to make something happen. And it's hard for a lot of people to be accountable. Who's holding me accountable?
Yourself.
I am. But I also have higher expectations from a family and from my mentors. Yeah. And when they don't see me doing social media posts, they don't see me promoting, they're like, "Wow, where you been at? I haven't seen you." Okay, that means we got to get back
exposure.
Got to get back on the grind, back to promoting. Yeah. So you have to take the first step. If you want to fix your community, go to community college. If you want to fix your community, volunteer. If you want to fix your community, contact your local district representative and get involved.
Vote.
Yeah, you have to vote. No matter how old you are, you got to vote.
Yeah.
And your voice matters. So even though people think, and a lot of times even in our culture, they're like, "Man, I don't vote. It doesn't matter." Well, it does matter. I got a cousin who was a state senator in Texas, and one of the first Hispanic state senators for Houston, Texas, and they really showed us the power of voting.
Oh, yeah.
The importance of it, and to them it was like they were on the streets, vote. Yeah. Every time it came to vote, they were out representing to vote. So don't take it lightly. If you're unhappy about something, start with yourself, but just go in that direction, and you'll find a path.
Yeah.
You'll find a path.
Yeah. I don't want a bad community. Yeah. So if you're a parent out there with a teenager, get them on the right track. Get them a mentor. Even if you hit up Noel, you hit up any type of mentors. I actually seen on Facebook they have a mentorship program on Facebook.
Awesome.
Sign up your youth. If you see them going in a bad direction, snap them out of it. Get them a mentor. Get them some knowledge. Get them some free game. YouTube has a lot of free knowledge platforms, everything. Get a mentor. Let's fix our communities one person at a time. That's all it takes. So this is my first step, my first interview.
Well, congratulations, bro. I mean, it takes the first step, and you gotta just, you gotta put yourself out there, and you gotta share it with your family and friends, and then we gotta be open to all the comments and thoughts and the criticism, because we do post it, and on a post, what does it have? A comment. So then we gotta think about, man, they're gonna make comments about me or this and that. But you know what? If it makes you happy and you feel joy doing it, keep doing it. Yeah. Because the more you do it, the better you're gonna get.
Exactly.
The more exposure you're gonna have, and in this we call it consistency.
Yeah.
And when you're consistent and you're running your own business and doing your own things, a lot of great things happen. The end results on it. Exactly. So congratulations, man! I'm honored to be to be on here and share any good words to anybody. Connect with. If you don't know mine, you can't find me. Just connect with him. He'll connect you with me, and we'll make it happen. And great questions today.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank the audience. They gave me a lot of those questions to ask you. So
we'll
do this again. I'm gonna do a future podcast and see where you're at and see where we're at and see how many people we actually connected with. So it'll be great to reach out and connect again.
Good deal. Anytime I'm here. Okay.
All right. Bye.
All right. We'll see you.